McLaren Holdings will be assessed on one of its holdings, Steak and Shake. The strategic group in which this chain competes is the fast food or quick service industry. First, the power of rivals in the industry can be considered to be high. Some of Steak and Shake's top competitors or rivals in the fast food industry are Five Guys, In-N-Out Burger, Smash Burger, Shake Shack, McDonald's, Wendy's, and Burger King. The top four fast food chains account for roughly 35% of the market share. Rivals such as Five Guys, In-N-Out, Smash Burger, and Shake Shack have been doing well recently, mostly due to their focus on offering of quality food and ingredients. McDonald's, a traditional powerhouse, has focused recently on the diversification of their menu while also cutting costs. Evidence of this is the fact that they just acquired a machine learning firm named Dynamic Yield, which specializes in the development of kiosks. Next, the power of substitutes in the industry can also be considered to be high. The fast food industry is not highly concentrated, meaning that the top four players do not largely dominate the industry. There are nearly 50,000 fast food chains in America, and it should not come as a surprise that nearly 48% of these establishments are small businesses with 9 or fewer employees. Ultimately, the consumer in the industry has a plethora of substitute food choice options that range from Outback Steakhouse to Walmart's frozen food aisle. With so many options, competition for each consumer dollar is extremely high in the industry. Next, power of new entrants can be considered to be medium in strength. The food industry is unique in that it often requires a relatively small investment in order to enter the market. This means that almost anyone can open a restaurant, and as soon as they do, they're in direct competition with every nearby food option. Visualizing the economies of scale in the industry, however, can be challenging. While each member competing in local markets has a seemingly fair chance within the market itself, whether they be a multinational chain or a mom and pop shop, the big players in the industry benefit from some small economies of scale even within those small local markets. What I mean by this is that the sheer size of the multinational chain's operations, along with their relationships with suppliers and utilization of efficient distribution channels, allows them to recognize a moderate cost advantage over small firms. So while some economies of scale are present, they have a moderate to low effect on the industry as a whole, and certainly aren't large enough to deter swarms of restaurants to close their doors or avoid opening them in the first place. Next, the power of buyers in the market can be considered to be medium. Fast food firms are competing in a day and age where consumers are seeking out higher quality and healthier food products and are shying away from items that are mass produced. As this taste for healthier options becomes more entrenched into consumer expectations, firms and chains are having to adapt their menus in a way that will keep them competitive. It is known that the more concentrated and less diverse that a buyer group is, the more power they have in an industry. Fast food is consumed across all income brackets, races, and creeds, and this reduces the power of the buyer in the industry. Next, the numbers point to an interesting fact about consumer preferences. They are not necessarily demanding healthier options, rather, they are demanding higher quality options. The chains that have invested in a menu that focus solely on healthy food options have reported numbers that show them to be struggling. Chains that emphasize food quality but not necessarily healthier options are doing well. For example, a burger chain that uses high quality meat and ingredients would likely outperform a firm that focuses on turkey burgers and healthy options. Likewise, a chain that with high quality meat would likely be outperforming in terms of growth traditional chains with low quality meat and ingredients. In fact, according to Techonomics' 2015 Future of Limited Service Restaurants Consumer Trend Report, healthy options was only the 6th most important factor to consumers when choosing where to eat. High quality, fresh food is the most important factor. Subway, for instance, a firm that offers healthy options, has been seen decreasing sales, while In-N-Out Burgers, which promotes never frozen beef with no additives, and Marco's Pizza, which offers authentic Italian pizza on homemade dough, have both been doing very well. Next, the power of suppliers can be considered to be medium in the industry. The suppliers of the fast food industry are similar to those throughout the greater food industry. The most influential are beef, pork, poultry, and potato. Also, as with most firms, labor. The fast food industry holds strong foundations in beef. Most of the biggest players in the industry offer a menu largely based off of beef products. Lately, beef prices have been volatile but are trending upwards. Costs are increasing due to an outbreak of American swine flu in Chinese herds and brutal winter weather alongside of falling beef production. These increases, which are projected to continue through 2023, are affecting herds across the world, which means supplier costs are moving mostly in unison. For the fast food industry, this means that there is no way to escape the costs other than to pass them on to the consumer. One of the most influential suppliers to the fast food industry is labor. Labor and its prospect for change are two of the biggest risks facing the fast food industry today. The industry has notoriously taken advantage of the cheap labor afforded to it by employing at the minimum wage, or just slightly above. One of the largest demographics of their labor force are teenagers. 30% of workers in the industry are between the ages of 16 and 19. Another 30.7% are between the ages of 20 and 24. What is interesting is that the political turmoil is occurring over the final 40% of the workforce, employees aged 25 and older. In America, minimum wage increases of nearly 100% to $15 an hour pose a grave threat to the bottom line for the fast food industry. Firms will undoubtedly find creative and simple ways to regain their profits. This is why kiosk and technological services will likely become new and more integral suppliers to the fast food industry. In conclusion, there is no question that the fast food industry is highly competitive in nature. Depending on the scope from which you are viewing it, this competition can be quite even. When examining the industry in terms of local markets, the local shops are competing with multinational firms. Once the view is brought into a national or global scope, some of the large chains start to become so large that it's hard to compete with their market share. The most intense threats are those coming from rivals and substitutes. At a multinational level, new entrants do not pose as grave a threat as they do at the local level. Suppliers, due to their adherence to global weather and political trends, tend to move in unison, making them a moderate threat to the industry as a whole. Likely, the larger firms will be better prepared to deal with suppliers than local shops. Finally, buyers pose a moderate threat to the industry. They are requiring more diverse menus with higher quality food products. Ultimately, firms that find themselves competing in the fast food industry must adapt to ever-changing preferences and competitors in order to salvage their bottom lines.